What's up, everybody? How you doing? Good morning. We're about to jump right into it. We got to talk about what's going on in these charts. I think there's about 10 days. Within the next 10 days, we're going to be having some movement in these markets. So let's go ahead, get this music going. Everybody roll in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding the bell. We're going to get this going here in just a moment.
We are hearing from clients around the world.
Can't nobody tell me nothing.
Crypto, depending on how you think about it, and I believe crypto will play that type of role as a
Can't nobody
flight.
tell me nothing. Bitcoin, bomb.
We are hearing from clients around the world.
Bitcoin coming into a level where we're time frame, we might be having a pump sometime, I think, in this next week. If we jump right into the charts, we've got about a 10-day period right here, only 10 days before, even if we constrict it into this and continue consolidating, we would need to pick a direction one way or another. I think we may have a little bit of a choppy weekend. Remember, I think it was at the beginning of this week or late last week, we discussed how choppy this week was going to be based on all those Fed speakers, as well as having all this price action pushing to the upside. We needed a little time to let the market cool down, let some data points get reset, build some bullish exuberance, shake out the weak hands. My question to you right now, every single one of you that's tuned in, have you been shaken out of any positions? I want every single one of you to write in the live chat right now. Did you get shaken out? Did you buy anything? Did you pick up anything on sale? Because let me tell you what, we're coming into a period of time where this market's going to get away from us faster than we can even understand. And as we sit right now with a little bit of a pullback, some people are freaking out like it's all over. I have been stacking. I've been patient. I have been letting this market do the work for me. And the work that we need to do as individuals sometimes is just being patient, looking at the data, sometimes going outside and touching grass. So we got a lot to cover today. I'd like to welcome everybody here. If this is your first time here, my name's Kelly Kellum. Welcome to the BitLab Academy stream. And I would hope that each and every one of you want this market to go up. And if you want this market to go up, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding the bell. We've been making some huge gains on our subscribers here in the last couple of weeks. So big love to each and every one of you. Let's talk about what's going on in this market so we can keep you ahead of the trend. Now, we have this giant triangle. Is it a symmetrical triangle? If we zoom out here, double click here. If we zoom out, is this a giant? Let's go ahead and turn off all the different data here. Is this a giant bull flag? If this is a giant bull flag, then holy hallelujah, we're going to have an incredible price action. We've already talked about this. I'm not going to plan on this, but I'm going to absolutely look to the charts to see what the target is out of this if this were to happen. All the way up to 122,000? Yeah, maybe, but there's going to be a lot of work to get there. The reason why I point that out is because a lot of us will look at these charts, we'll see a target, and we hold on, and we go into a leverage position and think that we're only going to exit once we hit that target. I don't think we're going to break out of this and go straight to 122,000. In fact, I think we're going to have a lot of hurdles above us. $77,000 is going to be a big hurdle. And that's once we break through this previous high right here, about the $74,000 level. We have to pay attention to this level, this descending level of resistance directly overhead, as well as this trend signal line right here that is basically confluent with where this resistance overhead is. So we have to take care of the 71,000 level. We have to take care of the $74,000 level. We need to also, we can do a more conservative approach and say, okay, what is this measurement here from the top to the bottom of this? And let's just take the basically the breakout of this symmetrical triangle. This target would be up here in the $86,000 to $90,000 range. Remember, everybody thought we were going to $100,000 or beyond last cycle. $100,000 for Bitcoin is an incredible, incredible milestone once we get there. I do think there's going to be some people, even Max Kaiser said that he was first time going to be taking profits was once we got to that 100K mark. I think there's going to be a little bit of fear around that number. There's a possibility that we go to 100,000 and the price pulls back. That sort of roundabout halving dip that everybody's been concerned with, as we've seen in all previous cycles. Maybe we go up to 95, 100,000 and pull back to 70. Now that would be so frightening for people, not you, but it'd be so frightening for new people in the market saying, oh my God, it's a 30% dip. but that would satisfy all things that we've seen in previous cycles. So let's look at this pattern that we have right now that is so bullish. We are consolidating above previous all-time highs and right around that zone, just like we did in the 2020 run-up once we got to that $17,000 to $19,000 region. So let's stay patient. Let's let this market do the work, but we are in store for an incredible bull run. And right now, the market is setting up to still give you opportunities if you're not a chump, if you don't get shaken out on emotions, because right now is all about institutional whale games. It's all about derivatives pushing markets one way or the other to trap you in the wrong position to give your capital away. So with that being said, let's talk about where the market is right now. Let's talk about what is influencing everything that's going on. Bitcoin, Ethereum, BNB, Solana, XRP. Looking at these, I mean, we're still at that $1.3 trillion market cap for Bitcoin. We're just right under 400 billion for Ethereum. We're under 100 billion, right at 87 billion for BNB. You see how big these gaps are? Now, I just want to point out, when I'm looking at this altcoin portfolio that I've been stacking and sharing exactly every move I'm making, I just want to point out something here. You can see near Aerodrome is up massively, but Fetch, Render, Graph, Avalanche, a lot of these coins up. It doesn't mean everything in the portfolio is up. And I've been sitting on or adding to some of those coins that are down. Remember, we started this portfolio February 7th, and we've been kind of stacking into it over time. Some things have taken some fairly large losses, but I'm not worried about it because most of these coins, Codex, TIA's a decent sized market cap, but Codex, OrdiSwap, Florence Finance, Swarm, many fairly small market caps can be pushed around quite easily. And remember, when we stacked into these different coins, if we zoom out on here, we look at the weekly, double click on the side right here, we can see, let's go down to Ethereum. We can see where we entered is this green line. Let's actually go to the daily just so we can get a little bit better context. This is where we added on Ethereum. Avalanche, this is where we added. So markets are pulling back a little bit. It's okay. Remember, we're buying at a point that there's a lot of contention in the market before it really explodes to the upside. Because when we understand what's going on in this market cycle, I'm okay with buying. And I've said this from the get-go on February 7th when I started this and started sharing this portfolio with each and every single one of you, that there's going to be some choppy moments. And if price drops below levels that I entered on, I would be adding to positions. Now, Solana, absolutely staying remarkably stronger than a lot of other projects. This may be fortuitous about what's to come in the bull run. If it's holding so strongly in this bearish shakeout move that's happening in the markets right now, this may be very fortuitous. And I just want to point out, if we look at this on the 4-hour chart, we've been talking about this 169 level since the price was over here. And we've come down and tapped this. Sometimes you don't want to hear it because maybe you just got Solana. Oh, I want it to go up. Why is he saying it's going to go down? I'm not ever saying price is going to go up or go down. I'm not ever saying this is where I want it to go. What I'm saying on this is when I lay out the map of levels on any asset, Solana, Cardano, Chainlink, all I'm doing is I try to be as unbiased as possible and say, okay, based on this price action, and I see this rising broadening wedge that tend to break bearish, okay, what are levels to the downside? And I look left on the chart, ranges where there's a lot of price interactivity and price lows or price highs, et cetera, as well in confluence with the Fibonacci levels like the golden pocket, the 618 is the golden pocket area, the 786 or the 382. And I try to see where there's confluence of data, and then we highlight those areas for potential targets to take advantage of if markets start moving that direction. And I almost said unfortunately. Let's actually say, fortunately, we've had the opportunity of downside price action. Let's all say this together. When price action drops, it is not a hard thing. It's not a scary thing. When you are investing in this market, when you are trading in the crypto market, when you see downside possibilities in a market, when we are in a macro uptrend, this should make you jump for joy because these are what are known as opportunities to stack into your position. Now, I'm never going to tell you to buy or sell. What I'm going to show you is we can lay out a map on the chart based on price activity, based on data, rather than being held hostage by what the price is of an asset. We're looking at the data, and when we see a macro uptrend and on a midterm time frame, we see price action pulling back, that shouldn't make us scared. That should make us excited that we can take advantage of adding to a position if that's part of our strategy. Now, we have a lot to cover today, and I'm so excited each and every one of you are with us. And I hope every single one of you right now shows some love, hits that like button, you hit that subscribe button, and ding the bell. We got a lot. I got a great interview coming out tomorrow that I am doing with Dr. Jeff Ross, who's the CEO, I believe, and founder of Valshire Capital. The interview we did last week with Mark Yusko was absolutely knocked it out of the park. Mark is such a great interviewer, and he has such great context on the space. Dr. Jeff Ross, who we've had on the show before, also is going to give us a lot of insight as to what's going on in this market, where the market may likely be headed, and some important things that we need to keep in mind when we are investing and looking to where this market could go. And not just Bitcoin, Ethereum, and what's going on with the broader market. So everybody hit the like for that right there. Now we're going to talk about what's going on here in the market. All right. First things first, shout out to all my people in New York. You guys know I did move down here from New York in June. So I'm happy to see that as it stands now, none of the people I know were hurt. It doesn't look like there's a lot of damage, but I do have one friend that sent me a message to a group of friends that we have in our group chat that there was one building that collapsed at least in New Jersey. So we're going to want to keep our eyes on that. Hearts, love, prayers to everybody there if they're dealing with that. Now, isn't it funny? We have the eclipse coming up. We're in Mercury retrograde right now, and we have an earthquake. Now, I don't tend to lean into that celestial stuff, but you can't deny the confluence of events that's happening. Now, what do I want to talk about? This is exactly what I just brought up, and this is a great chart from Titan of Crypto, and this is right here. Bull market dips are for buying. We get so lost in our feelings in this market, we forget to understand what the macro trend is. We get so scared. You know why we get so scared? We get so scared with dips in the market because we're greedy. Yes, you have to acknowledge that within yourself because we're so fearful we are going to lose capital in a position. Maybe it's going to reverse, it's going to go down. If you don't have a taking profit strategy in place already, and if you don't understand what your time horizon is on each asset, and you're also forgetting to look to the macro trend, you are going to be navigating this market with your emotions, and that just means you're going to be donating your money along the way. We are in a macro uptrend, and as you can see on this chart right here, dips are for buying. We can also see it right here from Titan of Crypto. Bull market dips are for buying. Let's say it again. Bull market dips are for buying. And so when we see this huge uptrend that started, it's very reminiscent of where we're at here, where we're at over here. And we're in that opportunity zone right now to take advantage of this dip. Now, this dip is already getting to the point where it likely will start resolving, and it very well may have a wick to the downside that may trap people with greed and fear by selling because they're so scared it's going to go down. I contend that in these bull markets, when we get a dip and we understand the cycle here in Bitcoin and crypto, that we take advantage of these buying opportunities. Now, let's get back to the chart. What does this say? So we've got this 1, 2, 3 sort of zone. We have the ASO here, and we can see that essentially we have the bear market here bottoming, and on the bottom, sort of uptick, bottom uptick, bottom uptick, that initial uptick that really sort of starts to set the frame, set the foundation for the larger uptrend that's going to come. Now, we had a very large correction here. And remember, we've done this on the show many times before. Corey Wright says, buy the dip. Arthur Porter says, buying XRP. What else is everybody else buying right now? I picked up Swarm yesterday, which is a real world asset tokenization play. But I'm taking advantage of the dips. And if it dips further, I don't go, God dang it, I bought to drop further. No, I have a time horizon in play. I have a strategy in mind. But we're seeing, as we saw back here, we had a 55, 58% dip. And then we had the global economic shutdown that resulted in a further total dip of down to about 72 or 77%. I can't remember. But we had, look at this. We had a large rise this doesn't look like a large sell-off, but in the moment, this was a 30 or 40% sell-off, and then a large rise. The halving was right here, and we had a correction across the halving. In this case, the halving was right about here, and we had a correction before it, a rise up, and then a correction, a secondary correction right before it. Now, this was a black swan, but there is so much going on right now. There's so much going on right now geopolitically and with monetary policy and the election cycle, but also capital flow from institutions coming in and buying Bitcoin. These markets are not just agnostic to everything going on in the world. There is a real potential of another black swan happening like we saw in March of 2020. And it may be something that's biological. It may be something that has to do with geopolitics and what's going on with Russia and Ukraine and Gaza and Israel. There's so many different things going on that could affect what's happening with these markets. So while the market cycle shows that we are in a bull trend with the small dip correction, there's a real possibility that we do get something that really shakes the markets up that unfortunately a lot of people are going to be shaken out, but it will create from a market perspective and as an investor and as a trader, it will create opportunities for those that are ready and prepared to take advantage of it by means of buying that black swan dip or being willing and able and having the confidence to hold through it. So you have to decide what you want to do and how you're going to do it. But in the event that that doesn't happen, we're still fully on pace with an incredible bull market trend. So let's take advantage of this opportunity and let's remain patient. Okay. Now, next chart right here. Okay. Tracking Bitcoin, all exchanges net flow. This is a great chart. That's 365 SMA. If you ever seen that term SMA, that means simple moving average. It's an average of whatever the number is before that number of bars, right? So if this is a daily chart, then 365 days averaged. That's how you get these moving averages. Help us understand the trend. As of now, the 365 SMA is around minus 900, which shows us that the bulls are very strong. Let's go ahead and look at this. Let's see if it pulls up. Right here, we can see that we are at levels. See this moving average down here? See how low this is? Look at this movement to the upside. See how low this got? Look at this movement to the upside. Look, we had a very strong trend to the upside, and now with this small correction, this has provided an opportunity, aka a launching pad for this coming down as it has, giving us more, basically showing the strength of what's happening in this coming bull trend. In addition to all this, we're seeing this contention about what's happening with Grayscale and the ETFs and et cetera. Well, let's look at this. Just in, BlackRock updated its Bitcoin ETF prospectus with many new authorized participants, including first-timers. Citadel, throw a 1 in chat if you know who Citadel is. Throw a 2 in chat if you know who Ken Griffin is. Ken Griffin, CEO of Citadel. Look back what was happening with GameStop. Remember that giant squeeze that happened and Robinhood and all those. Ken Griffin was on the opposite side of all the GameStop plays that was happening. He was one of the people that influenced Robinhood to shut down. So they're on the very traditional market side of things, protecting the old guard. So we're seeing the old guard now. They cannot sleep on what is coming with the Bitcoin ETFs. They're getting involved. Goldman Sachs, UBS, Citigroup, Takeaway. Big time firms now want pieces of the action and or are now okay being publicly associated with this, being associated with Bitcoin. Now let's go ahead and look right over here. Let's see why this matters. Citadel, AUM, assets under management, 62.3 billion. That's not something to sit on. You know, that's not something to sleep on. This is as of December 20, let's see, 2024. That's old. 24. Okay, so yeah, 50 to 60 billion, which is not small. And their influence on the market is larger than that because they are integrated and owning and having partnerships and seats on boards and actual just political leanings to helping shape and make things happen. The point with this right here isn't so much that they're getting exposure and getting listed as authorized participants on Bitcoin and ETFs, I should say, with BlackRock. What it's suggesting is that we're seeing a changing of the guards by way of changing and acceptance through mindset. Shout out to Locksky, one gifted membership. Big love to you. I see so many familiar names. And hey, let's get a roll call right now. We got a lot of new people in the room. If you're new here, let us know you're new, but I want to see every single one of you, if you've done this before or not. What city, what state, what country are you tuned in from? And what are you doing right now? Are you fully focused on crypto, watching this content? Are you so enamored with crypto that you're actually working right now and you have this playing in your earphone but you can't miss the live? Let's see what everybody's doing and where you're at. Big love to each and every one of you. Thank you for being here. Now let's go ahead. We got some more stuff to cover. Let's talk about what's going on with Bitcoin. Let's come back over here to, okay. Let's talk about, in terms of what's going on here, where are the levels we should be watching in terms of where likely liquidations are? Well, when we look at this right here, we are slicing. We've moved up into this sort of heat map of where these potential liquidations are. It shows that the largest band is here at this $68,000 level. Now, what does that look like and where does that relate to on the chart? So let's zoom in. Let's go on to the 1 hour time frame, and we are at that $68,000 level. So let's see. Maybe I did not update this from before. We shall update it. Come here, come to 12 hour. Let's go run. Now go here, additional filters, max liquidity. All right. Now zooming out. There we go. So we're pushing up. Look at that. Now the band has moved because we kind of sliced into that a bit. This must have been from yesterday. I don't know. I thought I had updated it. But this band, look at this, up here, 69.3. We can start getting some liquidation zones here at 68.6, which would be nice because that would be good fuel. If we do get it pushed up into the zone, if we start forcing liquidations or forcing closures of shorts, that is forced buying in the market, which could propel us into this zone. And we're going to want to watch at the 69.2, 69.3 level if we either get basically meet a resistance there and get sent down, or if we're actually able to clear this. If we're able to clear this, this would be fuel for somewhat of a quick move beyond this, maybe up into that $72,000 to $74,000 range. $74,000 being what that previous most recent all-time high was. Now, if we do move to the downside, notice there's a pretty big gap all the way down here. There's a little bit of liquidations throughout here, but the heat band is all the way down here at the $65,000 level. This is telling me that we're kind of at a stature right now. Where's the closest pool of liquidity? The closest pool of liquidity is above us. So this tells me the market makers are likely to be more incentivized to, and just the market in general, to have this actually push up into this zone. Now, the bottom side of this, 68.6, what does that look like on the chart? 68.6, this is 75, where's 68.6? So 68.6 would be, look at that. 68.6 would be roughly where we just had a wick up into, and this previous sort of range top here that we dropped from. So coming into this zone, we start getting that fuel if we get those forced closures, potential move to the upside. But we still have, remember, 240 bars is on the 1 hour time frame. If we go to the daily time frame, we still have a 10 days that we could realistically push up into here, and everybody gets so excited, and then it gets basically rejected. Maybe a little wick up, rejected, comes back down, scares people again, comes down to 66, pushes back up into the zone, come back, like basically fulfilling all the way here into the apex. That's very possible that we get that. Now, this week has been particularly choppy. That's also marred with all these Fed speakers shaping narrative back and forth every single day. Remember, if we come back over here, if we come over to my page, I don't know what is going on there. If we scroll down, I shared this. When did I share this? It might have been Monday. Right here. Yeah, this was April 1st. Remember, it's all about shaping the narrative, not informing you all. Expect some chop. April 1st, I was talking about the chop. What day is April 1st? April 1st is right here. So let's go down to the 1 hour time frame. Let's go back to April 1st. April 1st. So this is where that would have been right here. What we get, move down, move up, move down, move up, move down. Now we're trying to capture this move back to the upside, But we had all these different Fed speakers talking about their opinions on shit that they can't change. They clearly have failed in every form of the imagination with what's going on with monetary policy. Now everybody's debating if we're going to get an interest rate hike or this or that. And then you have Jack Mallers go on, I forget what channel it was yesterday, and he was basically saying, listen, we can't believe a thing that the government's saying about what's going on. We can't trust a thing our government tells us about what's happening with finance, with monetary policy, with the true value of the US dollar. The only thing you can do to step into your future without having your time and having your energy and having your capital stolen from you or devalued is if you have storage in something other than the US dollar, like Bitcoin, which has its monetary policy programmed into software that every computer on the network agrees with. So it's a decentralized monetary policy that not one person or one small group of people can change. It's not at the whims of any government. It's not at the whims of any institution. It's not at the whims of any individual. It is a collective understanding of the absoluteness of the fixed policy that Bitcoin has. That's why Bitcoin is so incredible and revolutionary, because it puts the power of the monetary system, it puts the power of this currency or store of value, however you want to utilize it, in the hands of the entire group at the same time, so nobody can steal from you. In fact, the biggest theft that you can do to yourself right now is not investing in Bitcoin. The biggest theft that you can do to your future and to your family is not getting some exposure in the best monetary instrument in the history of the human race. Now, if you can't get behind that, then I don't know why you're here. If you believe in that, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and ding that bell. We got some more things to cover. We got to talk about what's going on here. Shout out to Lock Sky gifting 5 memberships. Big love to you. I appreciate you so much. New members, Jay-Z, Prepping for War, Kingston Crows, Chris, Tyrone, Dustia. I think that's what it says. Dustia 1. All right, now let's talk about it. Let's talk about it, baby. All right, Bitcoin. We have this pattern we're watching. This is kind of giving incentive in terms of what the risk appetite is when we're talking about everything on these altcoins. I do believe altcoins are going to, a good portion of the market is going to outpace Bitcoin when the markets start moving. But typically what will happen is Bitcoin breaks through the gates of this risk narrative. And when you start seeing it run, then everybody else goes, do we put our jacket on? Okay, is it time? Okay, let's start investing. Okay, the market's on. So now let's get on our horses and let's run. That's essentially what's happening right now. We can see Bitcoin trapped in this range because there's some particular fear about this breaking to the downside. We see things like Ethereum falling a little further. We see things, how do I know it fell further? Because we can see the ETH to Bitcoin pair. This is going down. This means Ethereum is losing value against the weight of Bitcoin. This means Ethereum is falling further than Bitcoin. We also see Avalanche moving to the downside. We also see Render moving to the downside. We also, everything moving to the downside. When the market starts to flip back to the full bull narrative, I do believe that these altcoins are going to rip. We've talked about it with this chart right here. Unfortunately, at this point, we talked about this potentially being the starting line, and I still believe it is, this alt season starting line. This is not a time. This isn't today. This is a price level, this index at which the altcoin market is able to push back up and take this out. I do believe that we are going to see a lot of these altcoins closing the gap and outpacing what's happening with Bitcoin. But it's going to kind of go like this. Bitcoin's going to run, then Ethereum will start running, and then we'll start seeing different narratives run. In fact, sometimes things run a little bit different than each other. We can see NEAR right now. Actually, we had this sell-off, but this has been working its way up. We see strong partnerships and integrations with what's happening with NEAR, just everything that's going on in this market. Not everything runs at exactly the same time, but we see this breaking out. Yesterday, we were talking about this breaking out above This is a 1 hour, yeah. Breaking out above this weekly VWAP. But look at this. It came back, tested the weekly VWAP like we talked about. Pushed up. Now we have a lower high. We had the wash out to the downside, came back up, attempted it again, but now we're staying more in this period right here. We can see in this period, the majority of the price action is above the VWAP. This means that the narrative is mostly bullish here. And now we're actually seeing this. The bears got a little bit exhausted, and this is moving to the upside. We can also see Aerodrome taking, that sort of that breather, because it had such a run while a lot of things were kind of sitting still. And so we had the falling wedge. Now we're kind of trading sideways out of this. I wouldn't be surprised if we got a move to the downside, potentially even coming down here to the $1.16. If we carry this over further, $1.24, which is this rising level of rising support from where this used to be resistance. I'd be a little worried if this loses this level. But as it stands right now, we do see on Aerodrome, look at this. We do have a little bit of a rising broadening wedge that broke bearish. See that? Not only did it break bearish, it came up and told you it broke down to the weekly VWAP, which also happened to be this rising level of support. It kind of wicked down below it, came back up, tested not only this previous support, flipped this to resistance, and also came down and retested the weekly VWAP as resistance and moved to the downside. So we're going to want to watch these smaller market cap coins on what they're doing. We have a little bit on ONDO. Look at this. Bull flag, pushed up, trade sideways, bull trap, send to the downside. And you see how this is getting rejected at the weekly VWAP each time? We're going to want to watch these things because when this market shifts gears, it's going to do it, I think, very violently in the most profitable way for those that have been taking advantage of these dips. And this is why you don't throw your entire stack, your entire amount of dry powder at a dip, because you might say, oh my God, it dipped. Okay. And then you throw in your bag and then it comes up, dips further, and then it may dip further. This is why you always keep a percentage of your trading portfolio, at least, or investing portfolio in dry powder so you could take advantage of these buying opportunities. Let's look at SCI. We haven't looked at this. Look at this, moving to the downside, but on this move to the downside, we're getting a little bit right here. It's a very small, but you see these 2 points right here lower. And at the same time frame, if we're just looking at the RSI here, the RSI basically bottomed here and is flat. You could argue there's a little bit of an angle to the upside, but either way, this is much lower, and the RSI basically it's reached its sort of base, giving a little bit of bullish divergence here. And we see that the price action has pushed up through the trend signal line and this 20 moving average dynamic resistance zone. What we're really watching for on SEI is the price action coming up and taking out this weekly VWAP, 73 cents. If we're not able to do that, this may be in store for another rejection here and another leg to the downside. Stacks doing some work, providing opportunity. This is part of what I think is going to be one of the biggest narratives. I think real world asset tokenization, which is going to end up being a very crowded field, I think very soon, to start making, placing your bets, if you will, but also the BRC20 narrative. And this has had some really great price action, all the way. I mean, look at this. From its low, from its low, 17x, 1725%, 1725%, 17x from its low. Since October, 6.8x. All right. So as it stands right now, this is starting to look, until we get another jolt in the BRC20 narrative. There's a lot of speculation here, and we're seeing some smaller momentum. As you see, this is that first run up here. Is this one the same size? No, it's a little bit smaller, right? And then we can measure this one. Okay, what's this one right here? Is this the same size? It's almost the same size, but then immediately followed by a much, much shorter one. So we're starting to get a little rounding here. We may be in for a little bit of an opportunity if we lose this trend signal line, this green line right here. If we lose this, potentially coming down to this zone right here on stacks, which would be $2, the $2 mark. That's another 30% drop, right? 30, yeah, sorry. But yeah, it's about a 30% drop. If that happens, if Bitcoin, if all the altcoins that you're holding hold, you know, in a 3 to 5, 8% range that they're in right now, and Bitcoin starts to go on a run, then it will start the engines of the rest of the market as well. If Bitcoin drops and loses that and we get a washout to the downside, maybe we test that $57,000, $58,000 mark, which is the short-term holder cost basis, then I think we're going to see some really great opportunities in the altcoins. So this is why, if you're looking at this is where we're talking about. You're looking at the markets, and we want it to go up. This is a bull flag. This is going to break out and go to the upside. I think, yes, eventually this will go to the upside. However, I'm not counting out the possibility of this testing down to this $62,000 level, or potentially having that washout and getting a spring down here somewhere in the, you know, somewhere in the upper to mid 50s, which would really shake and quake the market. But ultimately, I think it would be a healthy flush, because if I'm not mistaken, let me see, funding rates, I believe, right here. Yeah, Bitcoin funding rate still near all-time high despite recent dip. The last time funding rates were this high was in April 2021. After this happened, Bitcoin collapsed from above 60,000 to below $30,000. Now, these are two different parts of the market cycle. So are we going to collapse from 65 that we're at now, 66, down 68, down to 30? No, I don't think so, because the last time we were this high was back here, and we were at a different part of the market cycle. I think having a collapse from here and washing out to the mid 50s or upper 50s would satisfy the same sort of behavior, but with stronger bullish buying pressure defending certain levels. But are you prepared if it does go below that? I know I'd probably sell my car, and get in on it. But we can't just be shaken out by what could happen, right? We just want to be prepared if it does. Perfect rounding nature here. Head and shoulders here. This is TIA. Head and shoulders here. This is on the 3-day. And then on this, we got that move to the downside. Now let's get down to the 4-hour. I do think this is shaping up to be a great buy. We've been stacking into it, you know, since over here. Actually, it was over here. Where did we get into it? We got into it over here. We got out of it, and we got into it a little bit lower. But this is, look at this. This is testing down to where? Previous range high. It's crazy how the price action, look at this, bounce right at this previous range high, right where this bounce, comes down, bounce up, bounce again. If we lose this, where do we look? We look right here. Why do I say there? It's an arbitrary line, Kelly, because I'm looking at this range top and this bounce. So rejection, bounce, 2 points of confluence, projected across your chart. This would suggest that if we do lose this level, a great buying opportunity would be down here at the 907 sort of range, maybe front running this a little bit. Let's see what you guys are saying. Let's see, Mitch, Manon, homies, Crimson. Shout out everybody. Special shout out to Crimson Caravan Company coming on to Hit Network team, doing some stuff for us, which is going to be very exciting. I know we've been trying to get him integrated for quite some time. So special shout out to my guy there. Big love to you. Appreciate all your patronage here, not only with BitLab, but also Blockchain Basement and Hit Network and Discover Crypto and in the Discord, and your value to the space. And again, with that, I'll say shout out to Alexander G, also always putting in such a good effort to help behind the scenes, and Alex Green as well. Let's go. Let's go ahead and talk about a couple more things. Real world asset tokenization, illuminating the RWA category, a leading trend in crypto sector. Now, we don't need to go into this. I just want to highlight the narrative that is taking shape. And we also see people like Larry Fink talking about the need or the likelihood or the actual path for the tokenization, the digitization of the economy. This means the multi-$100 trillion economy out there over the course of the next 15 years is going to become more and more digitized. Not everything will, but a huge portion of it will. And there's going to be essentially rails that's going to run on. That's going to be infrastructure that's going to run on. So not only does the AI play need DePIN and, compute, store, and I forget what the other, the infrastructure plays of the blockchain ecosystem, but the digitization and tokenization of everyday things put onto the blockchain and be able to make 24/7 and also cheaper transaction fees and more immediate finality and smart contracts. And there's so much coming to this blockchain ecosystem. It's beyond just let's trade some memes, let's hold some Bitcoin, let's get that one L1 we want. This is the infrastructure that you're all participating for where the future of the economy and the world is headed. So this is a huge narrative. This is why I sold two of the ETH that I had in that portfolio, and I moved them into real world asset tokenization projects. They're very high risk plays. I talked about it in the Discord. Go into the Kelly Alpha channel. But it's because now that Larry Fink is also touting and pushing this narrative as well, I think we're going to see a huge expansion in that sector. Now, when we're looking right here, we just talked a few minutes ago about the altcoins and what's coming. It's so scary things dropped. When you zoom out, you can see, is it that scary? We're doing just like we've done before. So even if we drop down from here, it doesn't bother me. It would be a little bit like, damn it, I have to be more patient before the next move. But the next move is coming, whether we like it or not. There's no ever telling when. But when we look structurally, this is where we're at. We're in this reaccumulation stage. Reaccumulation stage, launch. So let's be a little bit patient. And when we can see right here, actually, where did it go? I don't know. It was a message from our good friend Caleb Friends. And did I not retweet it? Let's go over to his. Is it right here? No, Caleb. The jobs numbers came out today, is what the tweet that I was trying to pull up. I don't. Job numbers are better than they expected that they were going to be. Yes, that's all I was going to say. Very positive. Things are doing well. Things are surprising the market. We had all these Fed speakers speak this week, which created dissenting ideas about the strength of the economy and what's going on with monetary policy. And oh my God, we're not going to get rate cuts. So the market's dropping. Who gives a shit with all that? Let's look further out. Let's take advantage of the price action when it dips. Let's make sure we're doing diligence on the coins that we are buying so we know they have real utility and they have development and growing over time. And we can stack into our future. Because I just want to say this. Actually, I'll save this for the end. But I just advise all of you, head over to Joshua Jake's page, which is right here, ITZ Joshua Jake. Make sure you go to the correct one. Retweet this tweet right here. Like and retweet it. And you get, you're going to be entered to win for $500. But this is one of those projects that I stacked into like a month or two ago, CodexChain, which is essentially, let me just show you guys what this is and why I stacked into it. But they integrated, making some strong partnerships. Coming back over here, we're thrilled to announce that Codex has officially integrated with the Ton blockchain. Telegram, you know Telegram, one of the biggest social media networks on earth, chat deal. Join us in embracing a decentralized and open internet powered by technology pioneered by Telegram. So what they're doing is great. So introducing Codex bot version 1 now available on Telegram. This bot, essentially what they do, let's come back over here, what Codex does. And look how, I mean, it's a $2 million market cap. Very risky play. But when they're making partnerships with people like Telegram, I mean, how could you not want to be involved, right? The fastest way to build dApps without code. AI is going to be one of those things that's going to be, it's like this technological revolution. And this is basically going to give access and ease of use to integrate. I mean, look at the growing list of partners: Bubble, Arbitrum, Ethereum, Polygon, Cosmos, Internet Computer, Avalanche, Cello. I mean, the Genesis Capital, Maven Capital, Near. And it's just incredible what they can do. You can create tokens. You can, it's all AI integration for allowing people to seamlessly integrate AI with their different business services, launch different things, code, and without having to do code. They have AI code generators that can create exactly what it is you're trying to do. But that's all I got for today, guys. I love you. I appreciate you. I hope you all have a wonderful day. I'd really love it right now if each and every one of you are here. Let's wrap this week strong. Let's get the number. Let's get more. How many people we have watching right now? It doesn't show me for some reason. Cannot see. 248 current viewers. Every single one of you, hit that like button. Join us here in the family. I have a stream coming out tomorrow with Dr. Jeff Ross, hedge fund manager for Valshar Cap. It's going to be an absolute banger, giving you some ideas about what's going on, what's coming in this market, where we can expect, the things we need to watch out for to really capitalize the most on the move. So make sure you tune in tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern time. I'll be there with you in chat, being able to chat with each and every one of you. Who knows, baby, we'll do a giveaway. But everybody, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding the bell. My name's Kelly Kellum. Thank you for being here. It's Friday. Get outside and touch some grass. That's all I got. That's all I got for you. Adios, muchachos. Adios, muchachos, and keep for coming. Thank you for always tuning in. BitLabAcademy.com. Hit that like button, sucker. I appreciate each and every one of you. Remember, where you're watering will grow. So if you're spending time doing things that don't serve you, video games are fun, but are you spending your entire weekend playing video games? Let's spend that time investing in our relationships, investing in education, investing our time in things that will serve us, become better at the things that make us better. I love you all. I appreciate you all. That's all I got. Hit that like button.